Okay. Trying this again. Here we go. All right. Okay, sounds pretty good. Adding comment. See if it's working. Alright, we're good to go. Hello everyone, this is Super Shadow 150, and today I'll be doing a playthrough of Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. In this collection, they give you the first two games that are in the series. Funny enough, only the first game ever appeared in the West, while the second never appeared in the West either. Which is really strange, so once we get to that, there might be some things that some people might remember, or might not even remember at all, since they've never played it. But I'll be happy to actually see the Western version of that game soon enough. Though it has been a while since I've played the Ace Attorney Investigations games, so I'm very happy to hop back into it in an HD format. Speaking of, let's check the options very quickly. Oh hey, check this out. You can choose between pixel art or an HD style. That's so cool. I think for this game we'll be going the HD style. I'm too used to the pixel style. So without further ado, let's hop into Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations with Episode 1, Turnabout Visitor. Everything old is new. Huh. Already my first trophy and I just turned the game on. March 14th at 1:16 a.m. To make sure the defendant is found guilty, what other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough, but a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. March 14th, 2:05 a.m. Prosecutor's building, 12th floor hallway. I really like this. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office, and keeping it clean. The door's unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? Huh? What's this smell? It's very familiar. Blood? Huh? What the? What's the meaning of this? Freeze. Identify yourself. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. My voice is not built for him. Give me a sec. Got the tea on standby. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor at my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrusted into a multitude of cases and some very frantic and busy days. About a half an hour later. I finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran straight away. Wait, I'm getting confused. No, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He's a detective at the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Ah! Look what they did to the office! It's totally trashed! I'll say, the culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. Whoa! Sounds like you really burned up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that piqued my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? Oh. I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office. What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic? The heck is that? By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. That is the end result of using logic. So how do you use it? You gotta be kidding me. It's called thinking, detective. You don't know how to do that? First, I recall the information we've gathered with the L1 button, and I connect them with triangle. Now to use the L1 button and recall the facts. So we have the crime scene, which is my office, and the office key. Doing things my way. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks, which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, If the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir! Alright. The basics of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that. And when I want to examine something, I simply use X when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost or just want to talk, just use triangle, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have the free time, I suppose. Ah, of course. The weapon. What have we here? Could this be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of those before. Huh. Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know! I was issued the exact same model. I think. Detective. I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So, it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by the precinct detectives. Yo. Do you have anything to report? Sir, yes sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. And yet, there's something out of the ordinary right in front of my eyes. Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a bit more. Ouch! They even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up ready for when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. That's Edgeworth for you. Hold on. Here we go. They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. It looks like the bullet passed clean through the stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yep, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Right? Went clean through the victim's abdomen. The body was found at around 2:05. Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have to press the R1 button to open the organizer. Simple. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. Really? Ah, I see. Don't even know the victim's name. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. I'm with you there. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh wait, Edgeworth said that. I need to look at these names more often. Hold on. Oh, that's handy. Yeah, it is a police badge. Oh hey, I have the exact same thing actually. What a coinkydink. Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. It would appear that our victim was a detective, just like you. Go figure. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other. You sure? What about this? I don't believe it! I packed those files on the shelf so tight that not even an earthquake can make them fall off, but just look at them! At this rate, the rest of the files won't even be able to withstand an earthquake at all! A problem, to be sure. Well, once the investigation is over, we'll put them back up on the shelf. Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Aw, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? One can only wonder with his salary. And yes, I am very well aware of the Ace Attorney series. Let's see what we have so far. The killer's goal, the victim was a detective, the revolver, and signs of a struggle. Let's see. Why did this happen? What was the killer after? Buddy Faith was a detective. Ah, of course. Got it. The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So, it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Got it. Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. As I always say, you gotta look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use the right stick to rotate it. No such thing as a bad angle. Use L1 and R1 to zoom in and out to get at the nitty-gritty. It looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow. So the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wrestling with the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. I guess this is about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to Jim! Whoa! Why? Oh, why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be. Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a blood-stained suit, pal. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes, I am. I'm Jock Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So, you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office? Yes, that is correct. Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not! I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them. And only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then? You're Jim's killer. No way, pal, you got it all wrong. Everyone calm down. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you're a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know? Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now how about a handshake to seal the deal? A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room after all. Thank you. I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there! Sir! Hey. I want you to capture the scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner Jim. I should probably give them some space. Okay. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa. One sec. Okay. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too? Just for a little while, sir. Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that. Until this case is solved, neither of us has the time to spare, let alone rest. You're right, sir. I'm gonna work real hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think he can afford to take any time off. Yeah, I doubt it. Ah! Your jacket, sir! What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they had shot through it? It would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here. Huh? Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective. There's a giant contradiction right here in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. But I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence, or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This is it. This bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press triangle with conviction. And when I found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things. Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right! However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too! Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, that. It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Oh, I smell money. I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that. Talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here, or I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So, when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really? I had no idea. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So, what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it? Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. Yep. But there's something else weird about this. Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad. Don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir. Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. I better update that. As I thought. It appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. You called, sir? You noticed anything? Is there anything you noticed that you'd like to share, Detective Gumshoe? Just that I rushed over here as soon as I heard there was a murder in your office, sir. The investigation's just gotten started, so I guess there's not much else to say. So, were you the one that found the body, Mr. Edgeworth? Unfortunately, upon my return, I found my office door to be unlocked. And what awaited me inside was this whole messy affair. Ouch, that's rough. Even though I left the security of this room to a certain detective. Sorry, sir. I assume you understand how to conduct investigations, Detective Gumshoe. Of course, sir. Examine anything and everything with X. By checking various things out, we can gather all sorts of evidence and information. You can see the evidence we collected with the R1 button. For information and leads, it's L1. Yeah, that's it. Great job, sir. Deductive reasonable is the way to go. It's called deductive reasoning, Detective. Clearly something you lack. Oops. Sorry. Found the skip button. I seem to have picked up a few good leads. Oh, so now you're gonna do that thing you do with all that information, right? What are you babbling about? The brain thingy you were talking about just a few minutes ago, sir. Logic. You said that you can look at all the leads and info by pressing L1. Then you pick the ones that seem related with X and connect them with triangle. That's your way of investigating, right, sir? Yes. Which is why this exercise in explaining my own method to me was unnecessary. Okay, then how about I explain my logic to you next? That is even more unnecessary. Let's just start putting things together. Seems I can hold maybe... So far I've got 4, but maybe 6 pieces together. Might be able to hold more soon. So... Could this have been the goal? Seems very basic. I believe I have figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime. That's a good idea. The culprit tried to open my safe. Was the killer's motive theft? Could be why there's books all over the floor. Got it. There is a possibility that a file splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, right, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shelve files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the only one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay, done. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Ugh. The bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossing me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. Let's check everything just in case. The victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor too. Those must have been made when, unable to stand, he dropped to the floor. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. Speaking of... The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See? I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, okay. So, this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. I put them all back just as they should be, sir. Doesn't look like anything's missing. Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through any shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. Anything else? No? Let's check through our evidence one more time. Did I miss anything? Doesn't look like it. Nope, I checked these. I checked the shelf, checked the bullet. Wait. The bullet! Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Eureka! Yeah! This is clearly where the contradiction lies. I don't really see what's so wrong with that spot. Huh, you don't understand. You see, therein lies the contradiction. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, it'd be nice if you'd just admit when you're wrong. That wasn't a mistake. That was me keeping you on your toes, Detective. Okay, so, might not be that. Let's check what we have again. We can always check the details. No, hang on. Hold on, one more time. Let's see. Oh! I did notice it earlier, but I forgot to think about it again. I think... Okay, but how to point it out? Let's see. So if the bullet went clean through the victim's body, and it went through his abdomen... Oop, let me try that again. Yeah! Eureka! There's clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, Detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the most faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? The order of the files. I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah. You see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down here after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They're exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they're arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha! So that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, Detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why we wouldn't. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith, and then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why? Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. There must be some reason as to why the victim's body was moved. But there's no time to ponder that now. Let's continue with our investigation, Detective. Roger that, sir. I'm raring to go. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. And we figured out that the killer went through your bookshelf twice. Indeed. There are many things the killer did that don't make sense. But to figure out the whys, we need more information. These handprints belong to the victim, right? They make sense with the body position. Yes, he must have left them when he was trying to support himself after he was shot. However, the final position of the body shows that it was moved. I need to go over this crime scene with a fine-tooth comb one more time. This is... What is that? Why does it say gumshoe in blood in there? I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed. No, wait! There's gotta be some mistake! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Sorry, I accidentally had autoplay on. And with that, the investigation is complete. Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me! You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it! I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you gonna do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? You know what? Since I already know how to play it, I'm not going to. Mr. Portsman, if you're ready. Aw, if you don't have time, you could just say so, sir. Mr. Portsman's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed the theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it'll be his final words that you'll be brought to justice. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice now, and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I'll find the flaw in this man's logic, and expose it with credible evidence. Here we go. Hold it! You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim's the perfect name for my companion. Jacques and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jacques and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys that decided to nickname Jim. He talks about the victim like it was his pet. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed the theft instead. Hold it! Do you really think it was necessary to de-shelve my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life is getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal. Okay, so all three happen to be instant noodles, but... Poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive, no? Sheesh. Man is so poor. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Sitting?
Hold it!
And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding.
Hold it!
Why do you think the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? Speaking of... The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how we missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take too much for your detective to miss anything. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. For the game-finishing spike. Okay, we're gonna back it up. Thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. You think his body was hiding the letters? Once the files that were written up in blood was stolen by the culprit. Oh, one of the files. Oh, that could be something. Objection! Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic. Bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Hold on. Seems like the audio is a bit too low, isn't it? No, it's completely up. Hang on. There we go. Oh, they're using a new rendition of this track. That's cool. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines. It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean the S is gone, and there's only half of an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Ugh. Which means... what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna give him I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant! Absolutely splendid! Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. Meh, you win some, you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. Ah, but you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up. However... What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? Stop that. Well, I was thinking, did you know there is one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there. Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady over here for me? A lady? The girl's a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? Huh? I believe she needs no introduction. I've called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Why does that name sound so familiar? Oh, I remember her now. Detective Gumshoe, sir. Maggie! Miss Bird is a security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you're not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird. How dare you! I would never sneak into someone's room! That's right. I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right, I did it. Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl's the only one who could have committed this crime. And for one simple reason. Alright. Let's hear your logic this time. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Tea time. Ugh, it's gotten a little cold. So, you're saying she used the master key, which we now have an organizer. Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, and this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get to Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him. And in this case, we press everything. Like a good ace attorney. Hold it! Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight, she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's, true. But I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir. Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I need to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean, unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bird out? Why not? Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bird, if you please. I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir. What do you mean by missing? As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsman, I believe this is an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir. If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now. I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. Ha, a likely story. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it. Yeah, pal. Trust me, you don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But... You still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own. From the messed up shelves to the wiped down safe, I'd say thievery. Was that there before? Maybe it was added before, or without me noticing. What was I gonna do? Let me look at the evidence one more time. Each prosecutor has one, only they know them, and the prints were wiped. Let me press.
Hold it!
I concur that the culprit's motive appears to have been thievery. However, glad to hear that the great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regard to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe, hey, good thinking. Asking for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence? I mean, if Detective Gumshoe wasn't the one who opened the door.
Hold it!
I thought we had established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly. It was just a theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities. I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird from the very beginning. If that's the case, then why didn't you mention her first? Now, don't make that face. See, there goes the truth running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it. I don't think you're catching my drift. But we're in agreement that the detective isn't the killer, right? If so, then I hope you'll understand when I say that since she's the only one who could have opened your office door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. Hold it! Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than the master key? Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else. I'll have you know, I've never made a spare. So what are you insinuating? Nothing. Guess I should have known better than to suggest that someone like you would. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she?
Hold it!
Is there anything in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breath, you know. For when you screw up so badly that you literally chased off the Force. What? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Whew. Don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. That pause sure didn't give me very much confidence, making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message.
Hold it!
By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe? I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him, and just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence! I would love to, but first we should listen a little bit more and digest what he's saying, and press him for more information. Oh, and now we're looping back.
Hold it!
Did I check this first one? Let's see. Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? You weren't able to use the master key at the time. Right. You said it wasn't anywhere in the security booth. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. What do you mean, pal? Besides, Maggie doesn't have any reason to want to sneak into Mr. Edgeworth's office. You mean her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards the motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counteract with a few facts of my own.
Hold it!
Oops. Skip too fast. And I put on autoplay. Okay, that didn't get me anywhere. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key? Wait. Hang on. Wait. I don't trust autosave with my life. I'm making a save file just in case something bad happens. Where was I? Oh, right. This is about the master key.
Objection!
It would behoove you to take a good look at this. I see it, but I fail to see how it has anything to do with me. Is that so? You're not at the top of your game today, are you, Mr. Genius Prosecutor? I can't allow him to set the pace here. I must remain calm, and only by doing so can I find the fatal flaw in his reasoning. Let's see. Okay, no, I did this already. No.
Hold it!
Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Let's see. You never made a spare, so that wouldn't leave anything.
Hold it!
Oh, no, we did this already. Let me skip. Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message? Don't really have any other facts besides what was written on it. I forgot I got stuck at this part a long time ago.
Hold it!
Press to get the facts. By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe? Upside down, mind you. Nope. Wait. Nope. I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well.
Hold it!
Did we press this? Yeah, we did. Yeah, why didn't he mention it first? Well, that didn't do anything. Since she's the only one who could have opened the office door. Wait. Only they know of them, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh yeah! See, in this case, every little detail you read in the evidence is very, very important. Because we would know that only prosecutors know of the existence of these secret saves. So why would her intent be theft if she didn't know where it was?
Objection!
Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe. The existence of which is only proven to prosecutors. I can't talk. Prosecutors. Duh! I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then, are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses! Why? What made you... What's with that angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. Wait, what did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. Ugh. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret saves. Then that means... Yeah, I know. I'd only just told him too. Obviously, I was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief? And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird? Excuse me? Uh-oh. I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far, even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who's probably been drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No! I couldn't. I could never do something like that. And not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have the key to his office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us. Unless... well, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? No, he does not. Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You're all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run the show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But sir, we have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now. Haha, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now, don't disappoint me, you hear me? Oops. Almost dropped my controller. Well, that was a very hefty beginning. A lot of running around, this did. Tea break. Ah, that was good. What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm gonna find some real evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True. So then, what now? Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Huh? Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of this argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Right. Let's look around. Yeah, we won't rest until we've... Hold on. What's that? It's... Ah! Isn't that the missing O-series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it as clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing as well. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. So what are these O-files about, sir? I guess they got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court cases. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. Then that means the thief must also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone else would care about such an old case. A well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about a luxury waiting area. These babies are also great for napping on, you know. You would sleep even out here, detective? In a hallway? Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up on the stand. But it always ends the same way. Me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometime. to envision myself winning, naturally. Anyway, that's not important. What is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir. I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway. What's a basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago? It did? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? I heard that it wouldn't exactly fit in an elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself. All the way up to the 12th floor? Yeesh. Hope the poor guy didn't skip leg day. Oop. Is everything alright? Yes, sir. If you must know, I weighed myself this morning, and I'm finally at 154 pounds. Congratulations. But I was asking about this hallway and this room. Oh, everything's okay, sir. A word of advice. Stay focused and you may start to lose even more weight. Ah, aren't you Mr. Payne? It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. What exactly are you doing here, anyway? To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly post-haste. Sounds like a messy case you've got your hands on. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? You don't want to know. This office. 1203. Hey Maggie, whose room is this again? It's Mr. Portsman, sir. So, he's my neighbor, I see. I suppose he moved in while I was away overseas. Okay. Anything suspicious about this door? 1202. Those 4 numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office. Whoops! Hey, these number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take out the plate when a room becomes vacant, you know. Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... Don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either. Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently, the doorknob's clean as a whistle. White, they think. Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind. Which only makes our job that much harder. I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream! A dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth! I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her with Triangle. Oh yeah. But before we do that, let's just ask about what she does know. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir. That sounds like fun. Just once I'd let to play with him. It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was passing the ball, sir. On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with them. Miss Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you're an acquaintance of the detective. She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. Oh yeah, I do remember that. One day, she got caught up in a murder, and things started going downhill, so she quit. But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night, Oh boy. You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry. My life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old, when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I've even managed to be named a criminal just when I became a security guard. That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know! And just when I thought I'd finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. Cool. You can start by telling me more about the master key. So, when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on a ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those two times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir. Which is why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that it was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge. She used the master key? What did you mean by use the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for the prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? What is it? That's right. I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly. It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. But that was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Once at 12 a.m. and again at 1:30. Talk about suspicions. I doubt you can say that you never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door. You're right. Da-da-da-da-da-da, every nook and cranny. Room 1203. You can't mistake it. You can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me. Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 1202 really badly. But since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door. So, why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202? I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday is December 2nd. Yup, that's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. Why am I even wasting my time thinking about this? How about the door's locked tight? I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor, Detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha! So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return to that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from? Yeah. If Mr. Portsman's... Oh, it's Mr. Portsman's personal basketball hoop. How can it be personal if it was just outside? I can't believe you put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office and yet you still managed to get lost? A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. It's kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambience of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified, just because he works behind one of these. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. That's hilarious. Did I miss anything else? Weird. Now might be a good time to use our logic. So... here we go. Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your testimony. What? No way, pal! I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time. Wow! Nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgotten all about that. But thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never did relock the door then. Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Huh, I better keep that information in my mind. Or my organizer. Nah, we'll leave that alone. What do you think, Detective? Ace Investigator. I was wondering about the investigation. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Let a real seasoned pro teach you how it's done. A real seasoned pro? Of instant noodle cuisine, perhaps? You know that you can always check out the really important spots in more detail, right? Yes. And if the area is too big, you can always use the right stick to take a look around. Oh, but don't worry, sir. The right stick command will only show up when you need it. I knew that as well. And when you think there's a contradiction or something unusual, try deduction. First, you line up your oh my god. Then you press triangle and choose your poison, evidence. When you settle on a piece, you gotta present it with triangle. I'm pretty sure I already knew all that as well, Detective. Well, if you can remember all that, then welcome to the world of pros. I dub you Ace Investigator. Class dismissed. And all I wanted was an update about the investigation. Maybe I should check something else with her. Oops. No. I just wanted to show you something. Oops. I had to open Mr. Portsman's office up for him a number of times before. I also had the chance to see the inside of his office on a number of occasions too. He's got shelves upon shelves of sports memorabilia, trophies, and awards in it. To the point where it's almost beyond gaudy, sir. But maybe I just feel that way because I'm jealous since I don't even have a single one. Don't say that, Maggie. I'll make a special Guard of the Month award just for you. Thanks for trying, but I've already got a mountain of consolation prizes, sir. They're proof of just how unbelievably unlucky my life has been. Plus, getting an award from you just isn't the same as getting a real award, sir. Ah. Well, dang. Way to hurt his feelings. Oh yeah, I gotta try this. That's a prosecutor's badge, isn't it? It proves that you're a real prosecutor. Interesting. Despite all appearances, she seems to know more than Gumshoe. With that badge, even I could be a professional prosecutor. Sir, may I please try that on? Just for a little bit? I don't think that would be a very good idea, do you? I guess not. On second thought, they're actually on the same level. Anyway. Nope, I can't present profiles. That sucks. Let's check his door again. Oh, wait. Nope, I didn't check everything. Oh, that's right. Let's check this. The master key was stolen, but she couldn't lock it. Wait. Check this again. The door's locked tight. That wasn't very useful. Let's look at it again. What am I missing? Wait a minute. Yes, there is. Or wait.
Eureka!
There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. Yeah, I thought so. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is this door locked tight? Huh? You know, you're right. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't the one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door? But how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... we need to examine these. The prints on the number plate. They'll tell us all we need to know. Everything? Really? Like what, sir? Well, for example, and such as... Well, we know for sure that Detective Gumshoe's dinner will only consist of instant noodles. Wow! That was amazing, sir! How'd you know? Was that supposed to be a joke to cheer me up, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, that's it. And now then, we should be getting back to doing what we need to do. And that is... we need to examine... of course, the doorknob. The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey you! Yeah, you, pal! Do us a favor and see what you can lift from this. So, what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, Detective. Sir, I found only Mr. Portsman's and Mr. Fay's prints on this doorknob. So, only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on this doorknob as well. Now then, whose print should also be on this doorknob? Well, that's easy.
Take that!
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean... yes. The door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. I better update that. What have we here? Oh, hello. That's very odd. What's this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. It looks like a note from the victim. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman. A note found under his door. Also, is this basketball property of Mr. Portsman? Yes, sir. He's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis. It doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. Although, I think it'll be a little hard to play tennis with this ball. That isn't the point you should be focusing on, Detective. You're right, sir. Now I should know what I should be focusing on. Bad, Mr. Portsman. Someone should teach him to clean up his toys after he's done playing. I think we've reached the end of this conversation. Same. There's something else that's more important. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. The position of this hoop is definitely unnatural. I better take note of this. Yeah. Okay, now we're done. Thank you. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it! That's exactly what my logic sensors were telling me too! I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. Alright, let's get at it. Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let's take a gander at it. Pass it here. Colby! Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Look, bro. Oh, hold on. Ow! That hurt my forehead. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. Ooh, hang on. Okay, just got a text message. Let me try that again. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jock Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. Huh? You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay, if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Who'd have ever thought that it would come to this, huh? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence about the guy. Really teaches me that I gotta stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything? Oh, we're gonna do that right now. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Are you sure about that? Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we're not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence. Better take another look at it. Actually, no. Let's just press. My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? You tell me. I'd say it is. After all, there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit.
Hold it!
Oh? And what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. And that's it? That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here?
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown you how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. Should I raise an objection? Yeah. You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door. Let's check this real quick. You bought 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone. But it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up with you later. Got you. Nothing really about this key besides the fact that it's a key.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door, with the master key no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with this key. Take that! You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at the time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure it was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Ha! And how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right! They do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you then use one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours, and not, in fact, mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think that it was that it was his room? Ah! Oh. Oops. Here we go. Take that! What? The basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it felt a little unusual. It left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop had been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So, that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Here we go. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. Are you sure about that? So, he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. Are you sure about that? And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who's the one truly covered in slime here. Let's do it. Am I?
Hold it!
Nonsense, you say? Yes, because I'm telling the truth here. Okay. You had the girl open your office door.
Hold it!
Using the master key, of course. Sure. You have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you. After that, I was in my room the entire time. Hold that thought. Okay. Wait, you said you had her open it. After that, I was in my room the entire time.
Hold it!
Ah. And what were you doing in your office? I was doing my usual training regimen. A training regimen? What were you going through? Were you going through your law books from start to finish? Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance. Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem. I was doing my usual workout, so... You don't have a single reason to suspect me.
Hold it!
I think I've given you quite a few reasons, actually.
Objection!
But none of those would stand up on their own.
Objection!
Then what about all the evidence?
Objection!
It's all circumstantial. No judge would convict on such flimsy evidence. He seems to be trembling a bit. One more little push. All I have to do is find the flaw in his testimony. Don't have a single reason, huh? Been a while since I've saved, so I'm gonna do it again.
Hold it!
I did it again.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
I meant to... It's getting confusing to play it on PlayStation. There we go. Oh, right. Oops, hold on, missed it.
Objection!
Nah, it might be a little too early. I must object to your line of logic. And which part do you have an objection to? It's... Yes, well... Stay cool, Mr. Edgeworth. You're no good when you're all flustered. The detective's right, for a change. How did it come to this? Calm down, Miles. Listen carefully and think everything through a bit more rationally. You were in your room the entire time. Oh, sorry. It's another issue I have with Ace Attorney games. Sometimes it's usually the right evidence in the wrong statement, or it could sometimes be the other way around. In which case, I have the right evidence, but I picked the wrong statement. Objection! That was a lie. What are you talking about? How is that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
Objection!
That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. And I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you. Sorry, hang on.
Take
that! I had your door dusted for prints. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her print should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Further, all of the prints on my office's doorknob have been wiped off clean. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. What? And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that took that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this officer's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edward just explained it all, and he can even back it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that doorknob well. Huh? I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched. Excuse me. Which is why I wiped the doorknob as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be found there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like, early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now that's just a flat-out lie! There's no way you didn't notice a note that size! Ah, but you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth! Back me up here! Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he simply didn't overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. Gee, where was this earlier? If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. Stupid cars. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think that it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see? All the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Guess we'll find out. You came back to the office at around 2 a.m.
Hold it!
You're correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. And it was then that you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit.
Hold it!
It is as you say. However, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the culprit's face? Was it me you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now, I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs.
Hold it!
So, you paid the criminal affairs department a visit. Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight to the precinct. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you around that time. See, I have the perfect alibi. That's all. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time we get off this crazy train. You there. Sir, please escort the young lady out. But remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn the situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. Ouch. I just hit my finger. The intruder I met could not have been Portsman, then who could it have been? The culprit rearranged my files twice, once before and after the murder. Other than the victim's gun that I found, could there be another gun in play here? Let's connect the dots. Got it! There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it's entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. I thought we had already established this, but seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Thus, that could be the reason why your files are in disarray. It's beginning to make sense. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I'd assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there are 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office.
Objection!
Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario. Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office would be my guess. Oh, because you're supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him. And then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, If things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another? Another visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen old file, right, sir? Correct. Only, just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice and the two bullets. It was all because two different people were doing those things at two different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and was not in fact Mr. Fate's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
Oh, come on! What's so funny now, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth's after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Of course. Supposing if, and that's a very big if, your theory is correct. It would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there's still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is it that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. What's your runaround point this time? That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So, you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course. Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions. I don't think it's all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. Right. Hold it! Actually, no, I wouldn't. Why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Fate's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the old files, right? And that's how we also know the letters themselves were set up, and not from Mr. Fate. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either? Yeah, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe. We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. Hold it! Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief. It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was in my training room.
Hold it!
But according to Mr. Faith's note, hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have proof that he left it at a different time, say just before he was murdered. I don't have any, no. You see, so I insist again that I was in my office the entire time. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at the Criminal Affairs.
Hold it!
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. All he said was that he would catch up later. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of evidence he brought? They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. He brought me 2 items, a gun and a pendant, that are related to yesterday's case.
Hold it!
I already know what I should do, but still. A gun and a pendant? Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim. And why were you taking them to Criminal Affairs? There was something in the past case file I wanted to compare these two to. But all this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you find the long paper trail I left to your satisfaction. This is all matching up with what Detective Gumshoe found out. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left.
Hold it!
I can't expect you to know, can I? Nope. But I guess you can't expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions. Oh, then let's see you deduce. Jim waited for me to leave and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking into your room, of course. And that's when Miss Bird caught him red-handed, and the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I had laid out earlier. I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. You said he brought you 2 items, though he said you had 3 pieces of evidence. Objection! Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read. Carefully. It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe... to get tripped up by a simple arithmetic. Where's the missing piece of evidence? It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe? You don't gotta say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Huh? Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. The KG-8 incident. That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over. Ooh! There's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean, this might be Detective Faith's blood? No, you got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you'll tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we to examine this tape for fingerprints. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. Well, that was quite the runaround we got. Mr. Portsman's been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back, and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my humble apologies. It was nothing. Really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a holdup or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Didn't you say that before? Something tells me she would have hired a different... we should have hired a different person for security detail. Yeah. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there was a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get a good look, did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh? Well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to the rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? Then Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that. but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence. Ah, that's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this. Take that! Sir, I don't think there's any mystery left to that piece. You might be right. I think you solved the case already, Mr. Edgeworth. The only thing left we still don't know about is maybe this? Oh, yeah. Yes, the O-Series file, the significance of which we have yet to fully comprehend. The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it is. And what happened to the other stolen pages. I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. Huh? What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It is the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, Detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is a mark of the great thief Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about the thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although, it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look! Something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So, the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu? Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that occurred 2 days ago. And that's it for Turnabout Visitor. And I got a trophy for it. There it is. And in the next episode, we'll be tackling episode 2, Turnabout Airlines, where we'll be encountering a very whip-happy prosecutor. But that's going to be the end for today's episode. And we got some new items in stock. So, if you guys liked this episode and are interested in more of the series, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to get notified from when I upload new streams and content. So until next time, I'll see you all later.